The youth want to talk to their trusted adults about the issues that they're facing, even if these are difficult and awkward conversations. I learned this several years ago when I was teaching the 15-year-old Sunday school class. I had a great group of kids who were very respectful and participated when I asked questions. The problem I had in the class is getting them to be engaged and excited about the lesson. One of the lessons I taught, they did become very engaged and very much involved in a conversation about the topic. Ironically, the topic of the lesson was the law of chastity. This lesson began as I usually do, with all of the kids staring at the floor and awkwardly shuffling their feet. I told them about the law of chastity, what it is, and why they need to live it. So basically, I was giving them a lecture. Then I switched the mode of the class and I opened it up to a discussion. They all know what they're not supposed to do, but the thing that they want to know is what is okay, and where is that line, and what is appropriate. When I opened it up to a discussion, the youth got very excited about the topic and they got very engaged in the conversation. So much so that when the class was over, they didn't even want to leave. And so from this, I realized that the youth really do want to talk to their parents and their adult leaders about the topics that they're facing and the issues they're facing. And there are many challenging, confusing, and difficult issues that our teens and our young adults are faced with. One of these is, what is the big deal about pornography? The big deal about pornography is the damaging effects of pornography. Pornography damages the brain. It damages the family, and it damages society. Pornography damages the brain in the same way that taking drugs damages the brain, because it's very much like a drug. The chemical reactions that occur in the brain when taking meth and cocaine are the exact same chemical reactions that occur in the brain when viewing pornography. The difference is that when viewing pornography, these chemical reactions are much more powerful. It's like a chemical bomb goes off in the brain. And when these chemical reactions happen in the brain is flooded with excessive dopamine. And in teens' brains, studies have shown that the reward receptors, which is what releases the dopamine, they are 2 to 4 times more powerful than those in the adult brain. So in teens' brains, even more dopamine is flooding their brains. And so like with meth and cocaine, pornography is addicting. The reason this is because when all of this dopamine floods the brain tries to regulate the levels. And it will do this by shrinking the dopamine receptor so that there are fewer receptors releasing dopamine. And then the individual will have to have more releases of dopamine to even feel normal. And so they will begin to crave more and more pornography. Elder Dallin H. Oaks said, "It impairs decision-making capacity and it hooks its users, drawing them back obsessively for more and more." A man who had been addicted to pornography and hard drugs wrote to me of this comparison. "In my eyes, cocaine doesn't hold a candle to this. I have done both. Quitting even the hardest drug was nothing compared to trying to quit pornography." Pornography physically changes the brain. This is because the neural pathways rewire and make new connections, or as they stated on fightthenewdrug.org, neurons that fire together wire together. Also, in the brains of addicts, studies have shown that the frontal lobes begin to shrink, even in addictions to pornography. Pornography is damaging to the family. Those who are viewing pornography have a difficult time forming meaningful relationships with real people. M.A. Layden, in a paper called Pornography and Violence in a journal on the social problems of pornography, stated, "Healthy relationships are built on equality, honesty, respect, and love. In porn, the reverse happens. Interactions are based on domination, disrespect, abuse, violence, and detachment. Pornography results in a loss of the spirit." Elder Dallin H. Oaks said, "When we worthily partake of the sacrament, we are promised that we will always have his spirit to be with him. To qualify for this promise, we covenant that we will always remember him. Those who seek out and use pornography for sexual stimulation obviously violate that covenant. They also violate the covenant to avoid unholy and impure practices. They cannot have the Spirit of the Lord to be with them." I know personally of the damaging effects pornography has on families. My sister married a really sharp returned missionary in the temple. They had 4 beautiful daughters, and they had the cutest little family. Their dad was so involved with the kids and spent time with them and had fun with them. And with him, everything was awesome. And everything was an adventure. Even going to the grocery store was an adventure. But then he began to view pornography, and he got into more and more pornography and harder pornography. And he became very addicted, and it changed his personality. He became very abusive of my sister. And after several years, it got to the point that she had to leave him, and she divorced him. After she left, her 2 older daughters told her that their dad had been sexually abusing them and that he had threatened to kill their mother if they told. That was 12 years ago. The girls are now grown, but they still have the effects emotionally and health issue-wise from the abuse that occurred in the home because of their father's addiction to pornography. Pornography damages society. It objectifies women, and it promotes violence towards women. And when women view pornography sites and they see these acts of violence and abuse, they believe that this is normal and this is the way relationships should be. Individuals who view pornography have 2 side effects that are damaging to society. One is that they have a lower material success, and it changes their beliefs. And so this in turn changes the way they interact in society and causes societal problems. Now that you know the damaging effects of pornography on the brain, on the family, and on society, it's time to get involved, get educated, and talk to your children. 80% of first-time exposures occur in the home between the ages of 4 and 11. Pornography loses its allure when it is talked about openly. It thrives in secrecy. There are some great resources you can go to find out more about pornography and how to deal with it and the damaging effects. One of these is the church's website, overcomingpornography.org. They also have a guide for parents, and it's called A Parent's Guide, which helps to learn about how to teach your children about healthy sexual relationships. FightTheNewDrug.org website is a fantastic website. They talk about all the different areas that pornography affects, and they have resources at the bottom that you can click on for each of these articles to go to other websites and other articles and journals to learn even more. If you're addicted to pornography, you need to get help. You can't overcome this alone. The only way to overcome pornography is through repentance and through the atonement. How many days does it take to overcome an addiction? It takes 2 years. Now that you know about the damaging effects of pornography, we need to all get involved, and we need to warn others.